So hello! On this channel we talk about independent spirituality and folk magic for free spirits. My name is Aster, and in today's video I have the honor of telling you about Lady Tata Mulambo, which is one of my Pombagiras. If you don't know what a Pombagira is, I already have a video here on the channel talking exclusively about that type of entity. It is going to be linked up in the cards and down in the description. And I also have another video talking about another specific Pombagira, which is Maria Padilha of the Souls. My other girl, I have two of them with me, and today it is the turn of my lady Tata. Just as a reminder, I am not a specialist on the topic. I am not a religious authority. I am making this video in the intention of honoring my Tata Mulambo and also honoring my culture of origin. As a Brazilian folk practitioner, for me it is a pleasure and a privilege to be able to sit here and tell you about the spirituality of my country. I am very happy for that, and I'm doing the best I can to share the knowledge. But I mean, there can be a few mistakes. I did the best I could to have an accurate and detailed research, but as I'm not a specialist, there could be a few mistakes. Pardon me if that's the case, but everything was put together with all the love and care that I could gather. Wait a minute. Before we start, let's take a minute to hear a word from today's sponsor, which is myself. Did you know that I have opened a store? Yeah, that's right. Over there you can find all my ebooks that contain some juicy bits of occult knowledge that I share, and you don't want to miss out on that. And also private readings that combine tarot and Lenormand cards, as you already know them, with some extra spice of Afro-Brazilian knowledge. But the best part is that the products on the store start at only $3. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't know, I'm also on Patreon. And over there I share extra exclusive content like spell tutorials, behind the scenes of my life, exclusive Patreon videos, unfiltered book reviews, weekly readings, and much more for only 1 cup of coffee per month. So if you like what I do on the internet and would like to support my work somehow, check out the links in the description to take a look at everything that I offer. Now, with that being said, let's get back to the video. Actually, Maria Mulambo is much more widely known in Brazil than Tata Mulambo. As a matter of fact, I didn't know that Tata Mulambo existed until I discovered that she was with me. But I'll certainly talk about Maria Mulambo in another video, another day, another time. Just in case you're wondering, how did I discover that this entity was accompanying me? I had a confirmation of my spiritual team through a consultation with a Brazilian religious authority, or Saint Father as we call them in Brazil, which is the authority of an Umbanda temple. So I already had kind of a hunch, my intuition, my psychic abilities were already pointing at a certain direction, but I was a little bit confused because I have 2 girls with me instead of 1. Usually we only have 1, but because I had 2, I kept receiving 2 names and I was confused. So to, confirm things, I had a consultation with that person who is not up for putting themselves out there, okay? Yeah, so I'm not gonna be sharing their contact information, but yeah, that's how I confirmed the spirits that belong to my spiritual team. Tata Mulambo is my main Pombagira. In Brazil, there is this concept of front entity, like in Umbanda, for example. Also, if you don't know what that is, Umbanda, there's also a video about that here on the channel, in case you haven't seen it. It's going to be linked up in the cards and down in the description. But in Umbanda, there is this concept of front entity, and that means that this entity, this spirit, is the most important and they have a strongest connection with the living person. So in my case, Tata Mulambo is my front Pombagira. As I have explained in previous videos, Pombagiras are divided into several different groups of spirits, and Mulambo is one of them. There's also Padilha, Farrapo, Caveira, or Skulls in English, and many other different groups. And again, inside each group, there are subdivisions of several different lines of spirits. It goes a long way. And in the Mulambo group, we have, for example, Mulambo da Estrada, Mulambo da Calunga, Mulambo da Encruzilhada, Mulambo da Praia, and many others. So, what is Tata in the sense of like, what does that word mean? And where can you find Tata Mulambo? I have learned two meanings for the word Tata. It means chief, like the leader of something, and also it means elder. So a Tata Mulambo will be like the oldest of the Mulambos, and she's at the head of everything. She's the leader, she's the chief of the phalanx. And an interesting characteristic of that Pombagira is that usually they have white hair. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are old looking. Each one of them will have different life paths and different stories. So each spirit, they have white hair for different reasons. Mine, for example, she has white hair because she's an albino woman. Tata Mulambo is a simple person who doesn't care about luxury. It's not the kind of spirit who will demand expensive offerings and expensive stuff. She will prefer those things made by you with love and care. So she's actually trying to remind us to be a little more detached regarding the human vanities, you know, because those things, they are ephemeral illusions of the material world. Tata Mulambo is a severe lady and her energy is very dense. She brings a disciplinary vibe, and it makes me think about the energy like Saturn meets Pluto kind of thing, because it's that thing that you're gonna take a long time to process and learn through practical lessons, but there's also all that mystery and spirituality attached. It's death energy combined with discipline and hard work and things that take a long time to come around. She has a vast knowledge of herbs and magic, so she's a very powerful and resourceful witch. As usual, I mean, it kind of gets repetitive, but Tata Mulambo in particular, she is associated with the death energy, with the entities of the skull phalanx. Therefore, one of her points of force, places where you can find her, is, guess where? Guess it? The cemetery. She's very much associated with death work, the energy of death, necromancy, and things of that sort. But you can also find her at crossroads. I'm gonna talk a little bit about altar and colors. In my case, because she's in my path, we are connected, we have something going on. Of course, that I have an altar space for her. It's right there, and it's shared with the other two spirits that are with me. They don't mind it because they're partners, so they don't mind sharing the space. When it comes to colors, she will prefer like discrete tones, things like black, purple, sometimes white, silver. It will depend. I mean, many things that I'm gonna mention here is like the base rule, but you're gonna have to confirm with each spirit, because each spirit is a different person and each person have their personal preferences. In my altar, personally, I have placed a few like antique old items, such as old money, antique keys that have been through cleansings and rituals for setting certain intentions into them. And there are also some bones due to the death energy that pertains to that entity and to the other girl as well. They are connected with the energy of cemetery and everything, so I put some bones in there. And there's also an embroidery piece, which was the first item item that I've made to put on the altar. I made this bone, like a skeleton hand with a cowrie shell floating above the hand, because my tata used to read the shells when she was alive, so this was kind of a little token of appreciation to her. I made the embroidery myself, and also the frame, I've made it with branches. I wanted to keep it as natural as possible. Now, concerning offerings and gifts, every time we talk about offerings, I mention the fact that food offerings should always take into account, you should always take into account time period, okay? What people would be eating 300 years ago or more. You see, back then, people did not have supermarkets, they didn't have access to this amount of options and ingredients that we have now. So they cooked with a few things, with what was available to them and what they had. Ancient recipes will always have like 3 ingredients, you know, sometimes 4, sometimes 2 even. So keep in mind the simplicity of foods from back in the day. Back in the day, not like 30 years ago, I'm talking centuries ago, okay? When people did not have a fridge at home, they didn't have grocery stores, okay? I know that for us today it is kind of difficult to think like that, because most of us, like you watching right now, you were probably born in a time period in which we have all of those things. We have access to food and kitchenware that our ancestors didn't. But we really need to try and think about what people ate centuries ago. Often in my vlogs, I share some recipes with things that are ancient and are simple and easy to make. I often cook some offering in my vlogs, and also on Patreon. On my Patreon page, you can see much more in detail my process of choosing recipes and preparing them to make offerings. And particularly, like in my case, over here with my team, I have noticed that they really like desserts, especially things made out of fruits, things such as fig or coconut. They really like sweet stuff. Sometimes I give them savory foods, but they are really into sweets, and that's kind of fun. Because of them, I am learning how to make so many different ancient traditional Brazilian dishes, and that's a fascinating part of the process, like connecting not only to the spirits but also to your own culture and things that you didn't really know about before. So the other day, for example, I've made a coconut manjar, like the ancient recipe without, what is it called in English? Concentrated milk? No. Leite condensado, condensed milk? Yeah. From Granny's time, you know, the recipe without condensed milk. And that step by step is going to be on Patreon on the 25th of November. I filmed everything like a vlog kind of thing for Patreon. So that's a recipe that people were doing hundreds of years ago. And I love the process of discovering things. I mean, I love antiques. I love antiques. I love thrift stores and finding ancient unique items. So when it kind of transfers onto food and cooking, I feel like I am traveling back in time. For me personally, honestly, it's amazing. It's like going back in time through recipes. Now, with that being said, I chose a white bowl, a little white bowl, and a nice glass for her offerings. And as a drink, she likes cider, fruit ciders. Sometimes we drink red wine together because it is a good idea, like to create a bond with Pombagiras, to share red wine with them, like sit down, grab a cup of wine, no, not a cup of wine, a glass of wine yourself, and, you know, gossip, hang around and talk to them while drinking a glass of wine. That's a good thing to create a closer relationship with a Pombagira, not only Tata Mulambo, but Pombagiras in general. So sometimes we drink wine together as well. But you can also offer Tata Mulambo fruit liquors, and cachaça, which is a very traditional, timeless drink made out of sugarcane. But then again, it's always important to ask each spirit what they like or don't like. Because, for example, mine likes cider, but maybe yours doesn't. You're only gonna find out if you ask them. Another thing that is very commonly offered is tobacco. Personally, I don't like to offer tobacco to my entities because I don't like the smell. I don't like, my altar is in my bedroom. I don't want my bedroom smelling like cigarettes or cigars or tobacco. So I don't do it. But if you don't have any problem with that, or if you are giving offerings outdoors, you can totally give them a cigarette or a cigar, a small cigar, you know, those thin ones, or even you can offer them tobacco in a pipe. When it comes to flowers, she has a few favorites, of course. I often give them red roses because it's like a go-to, it pleases everyone, but Tata will have a few favorites like lilac roses, lysianthus. I'm not sure if I am pronouncing that right in English, but I'm gonna ask the editor to put pictures of those flowers on the screen. And she also like purple orchids. You can give her those offerings at cemeteries or crossroads, but me, I give them on the altar that I have right there. And in case you want to give some other kind of gifts, she kinda has like an older girly vibe, you know. Many of them, most of them I would say, they actually died at a very old age. They died old and rich often, okay? Wealthy ladies, opulence, you own everything. So yeah, they are kind of granny, they kind of have a granny vibe. Even if they may not present themselves as such, they are grannies, just like me. In the inside, I am a granny. So you can give her things like hats, walking sticks, and shawls. Now, the question that many of you might be asking is, can I reach out to her? Can anybody reach out to her? So she will not be part of everybody's spiritual team, okay? I feel very privileged to have her in my life, but that's a privilege, you know? It's not for everybody. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But she can definitely be reached out to. If you go to one of her forest points with an offering and like tell who you are, say why you're there, and you know, try to bond and get close to her, she might listen. But the thing is that she doesn't have any obligation with you personally, so she may just ignore you. She might as well just ignore you. And if that's what happens, be content that she decided to ignore you instead of taking offense. I mean, if you are respectful, it should be fine, but if you aren't, because some people, they really like, they can be kind of stupid and they see spirits as vending machines or something. So if you disrespect the spirit, she will come back at you. Like, she will come at you and she will send some kind of punishment your way. So if she just ignores you, that's totally fine. That's good. So make sure to, if you decide to reach out not only to Tata Mulambo, but any of the spirits that I talk about on my channel, make sure to be respectful, okay? To try and bond with them somehow, say that you're interested in them and you would like to get to know them or invite them into your life, some kind of thing. Don't introduce yourself, give them a flower and demand things, you know, ask for favors. That's very rude. Don't do that. So being respectful and sticking to your word are extremely important things when dealing with this type of spirit, okay? So never break a promise you've made to a Pombagira. Like, it's not even that they are evil or anything, it's just natural. Imagine that I come to you and I tell you like, hey, can you help me move? Can you bring your car and help me move? I'm gonna pay for the gasoline and give you $100 for your help. And you're like, cool, let's go. Then we do the thing, you help me move, and afterwards I don't do the things I told you I would. How would you feel? With the spirits is the same thing. So if you promise them something, if you give them some kind of proposition, like let's help me with that, and I will give you this. Stick to it. Otherwise, they're gonna lash at you, all right? They're gonna punish you, and you're not gonna like it. So yes, I love my lady Tata. Together with the other entities that belong to my team, I see that she opens amazing paths for me. They help me immensely in amazing ways, and I am so very grateful for them. I hope that those entities are content with my bringing information to the world and talking about them and sharing their existence with the world, because it's the very least that I can do in exchange for everything that they do for me. At this point, I've made a video for each one of my three main spirits: Maria Padilha of the Souls, Zé Pilintra, and now Tata Mulambo. And I hope that they are happy with what I've made for them in their name. Soon I will be talking about other Pombagiras on the channel, because there are many of them. They're all beautiful, powerful ladies, and they deserve to be acknowledged. Let me know in the comments if there's any Pombagira in particular you would like to know about. And also I will be talking about Exus, which are their male counterparts. It's not the Orisha Exu, but it's Exu Catiço, as we call them. As always, remember that practice makes perfect, so let's get witching, okay? Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you the next time. Bye bye.